Ladies and gentlemen, good morning, and I welcome all of you to the second edition of the Homepreneur Summit. This is generally the time we do a big round of applause. Can we have a big round of applause, everybody? And I think you can do that better. We will do another round of applause louder. Amazing. Well, ladies and gentlemen, today we explore India's journey towards 1 trillion housing opportunities. And that is exactly why we're here. It's the second edition. First is always special, but second is extra special. So that's how we want to treat. Well, it's a great pleasure for me to welcome all of you sitting in this room today, because people who are sitting in this room today represents the ecosystem of shaping how India will live next. And that's exactly why it's a great honor and privilege to have all of you here today, and I greatly welcome all of you. Homepreneur Summit is just not your generic real estate conference. It sits at the intersection of real estate and urban development, prop tech and AI, design and interior, fractional ownership, senior living and integrated communities, and of course, beyond all of this, democratizing the real estate wealth. And that is exactly what we're going to explore today. We're going to reflect. There's going to be some brilliant set of panel, keynotes, and some brilliant speakers coming here and presenting some real life case study. It's going to be out and out an exciting and an effective and a productive day today. While we do that, I request you to switch off your phone. Oh, sorry, don't switch off, just silent it. There's only one thing that I want to know. Answer the following question in yes or no. Are you ready for today? Yes. Lovely, love the energy. Well, before we move forward, a mention to our sponsors. Sponsors make events like this happen. They literally help us elevate the summit experience for all of you. So a mention for all our sponsors today, starting with our gold sponsor, Home Lane. A big thank you to them. A bronze sponsor. Thank you. I love that enthusiasm that I'm going to do that one more time. Our gold sponsor, Home Lane. Let's go. Thank you. A bronze sponsor, Hetech and Clayworks. Our associate sponsor, Zenalist.ai. And of course, supported by Manasum Senior Living, Hosa Chigru, and lastly, Jane Farms. I know you did clapping, but single-handedly, can we give a big round of applause for all our sponsors today? Amazing. Well, that is not it. We have an amazing exhibition area. I just want to give you a little information on that. During your networking break, we would definitely want you to go check out all this exhibition area. I want to tell you who all we have here today. We have Manasum Senior Living right here. We have Hosa Chigru as well. We have Kriyat. We also have CSH Innovation. And of course, Home Ease. So we would definitely want you to go check it out at your networking break. Make the most of the exclusive, whatever they have to offer here today. Well, now that the formal part is over, I want to call upon somebody who can do a grand opening to this summit. Well, I want to call upon someone who had a very successful corporate career, later transitioned into a non-profit ecosystem to better understand the support and to better understand and support entrepreneurs, focusing on empowering founders, fostering innovation, strengthening the startup community. With leadership experience across technology, telecom, media, and broadcasting, she's also been handling senior roles, also leading sales, marketing, operation, business strategy across global enterprises. She's also very passionate about monitoring and enabling next-gen leaders. With a lot of passion, ladies and gentlemen, I want to call upon to the stage someone who's going to do a grand opening of this summit today. Please welcome our Executive Director, TIE Bangalore, Ritu Sharma, with the loudest round of applause, ladies and gentlemen.
Can you hear me at the back? Super. Thank you very much, and very good morning to all of you all, and welcome. I will use my notes because I want to talk a little bit about and set context for today's summit. Very happy to see this room full, and I think as we go along, there will be more people coming in. So when we launched the first edition of the Homepreneur Summit, we had asked a simple but a very powerful question. What is really changing inside the Indian home? We decoded the customer, we debated sustainability, which was myth versus reality. We explored online versus offline models. We examined funding versus bootstrapping. We discussed the entrepreneurial journey from 0 to 1 and 1 to 10. The first edition was all about understanding the shifts. It was all about how the entrepreneur is navigating changes. And in 1.5 years, that's when we had the last one, something bigger has happened. The conversation has moved from trends to transformation, from consumer insights to capital scale, from products inside home to the future of housing itself. So today we're not talking just about incremental upgrades. We're talking about India, the $1 trillion housing opportunity. We're talking about the new India beyond the metros, where aspiration is rising faster than infrastructure. We're talking about capital markets, the real estate environment, and fractional ownership. Because housing is no longer just a lifestyle decision, it's a financial asset class. We're also going to be talking about the VC hotspots in the home economy, because capital is becoming far more intelligent about where it flows. We're talking about building brands like WakeFit in a decade, proving that India can create enduring, scaled, homegrown players. And we're going deeper into senior living and new age communities, sustainable homes as premium propositions, AI rewriting the design process, financial intelligence powering real estate, and ultimately moving beyond homes to future habitats. If the first edition asked what is happening inside the house, the second edition is asking what is the house becoming. Last year, we decoded the home owner, and this year we're decoding the ecosystem. Last year, we explored opportunity. This year, we're defining scale. Last year, it was all about founders building businesses, and this year, it's all about builders shaping a trillion-dollar economy. So Homepreneur is not just a summit about interiors, retail, or real estate. It's about the home as the epicenter of aspiration, capital, community, and technology in the new India. So over the course of the day, I invite you not just to listen, but to think boldly about the role that you are playing to create this $1 trillion economy. Because the future of India will not just be built in offices or factories. It will be built in homes. So good morning, everyone, and welcome to Homepreneur 2.0. Thank you very much. And without further ado, please allow me to welcome and introduce our next speaker, Mr. Naresh V. Narasimhan, Managing Partner, Venkataramanan Associates. Naresh V. Narasimhan is an architect, urbanist, and creative entrepreneur with nearly 4 decades of practice. As managing partner at Venkataramanan Associates, he has shaped award-winning projects across architecture and urban systems. He co-founded the Bangalore Agenda Task Force and MOD Foundation, advancing civic engagement and urban design discourse. In 2024, he helped establish the BLR Design Center as a platform for dialogue and critique on living environments. Naresh advises government agencies on infrastructure and speaks globally on cities as civic systems where design extends beyond buildings to culture, citizenship, and long-term urban transformation. Please give a round of applause in welcoming Mr. Naresh Narasimhan.
Good morning. I'm glad to see a lot of people. I'm usually used to talking to a lot of real estate developers. I'm glad to see the other side of the business, which takes care of. I'm actually your side of the business, right? I'm also a supplier of goods and services to the real estate industry, the construction industry in general. Right? So today, I thought that going with the theme of what Ritu already mentioned, how are we going to, right now, the gap between what we're doing as buildings. All of you know that we can build buildings in India now close to Western standards, to maybe a 9 on 10 or even a 10 on 10. And our interior design seems to be a 15 on 10, much better than what I've seen abroad. But all you have to do is step out of this fancy hotel you're sitting in, and the state of our infrastructure in India is a -20. Right? So I think a lot of us have to not just look at buildings, but also make sure that the urban environment that we live in is world class too. And that I have been involved in many projects in the city. And somebody was joking the other day, I have built more than 2,000 buildings in my career, but all I'm known for today is a street. And all of you have seen it, the Church Street, which has now become the go-to place of the entire city, right? So urban growth is inevitable, right? And design determines its quality, always. If you don't get the design right, whatever else you do won't make much difference. And three, the future is not going to wait for us to catch up, because it's being built every day, right? So India is all of you know this, but what is hidden in this slide is that the per capita income of India is still languishing between, average across the country is between $2,500 and $3,000 a year. Can anybody in the audience guess what is Bangalore's per capita income on the average? Anyone in the audience? It's about $8,000 a year. And the tipping point from economists' point of view, right, is that when the national economy becomes about $10,000 a year, you'll see a rapid change like what happened to China. The quality of urban spaces, the quality of air, the quality of everything in China is now approaching or bettering Western standards. And that we're going to, I don't know whether it's possible in my lifetime, but a lot of youngsters here, it's definitely possible in yours, right? So urban growth is not a statistic. It has to be treated as a design challenge, and how we can fast forward it. So in 1975, this was India. And here's another unusual slide from, we've almost from, and this was all the urban hotspots, and this map shows population densities. Close to 40% of Indian population, people don't realize, lives in the Indo-Gangetic plain. You can see that on top. If you ask me, that should become a different country itself. It's the 7th largest country. Uttar Pradesh and Bengal, Bihar and Bengal is the 7th largest country in the world by population. And see the amount of density there, and the rest of India is a bit more spread out. And today, in 2030, since we are addressing trillion-dollar economies, and you can already see the red shows the stress spots of the Indian economy, you will see that the growth in whatever you saw earlier is actually intensifying and is not spreading evenly to tier 2 and tier 3 and tier 4 towns, which is very alarming actually. More and more people are coming into the same urban centers, and you can see the level of stress. In Bangalore alone, the population was 8 million, 7 million in 2007, and today it's close to 14 million. No city in the world has seen this pace of crazy transformation. Less than 15 years, the population doubling. And it's only going to keep increasing now, right? You also see that this is an unusual slide. The government only recognizes about 4,000 census towns, but urban agglomerations have crossed almost close to 8,000 now in the whole. And here's another question for the audience. If you took the entire land mass of India, what percentage of the land mass do you think all urban development put together occupies? Anyone in percentage terms? Okay, anybody else? Very good. It's actually 3%. It's unusual. You would think that it's much more than that, right? But India is such a vast country that every single urban development put together, and even so the argument for the debate is that nothing much is going to happen even if it becomes 5%. Right? But the 5% should not come in the metros, it should push into tier 2 and tier 3 towns. Karnataka's economy is a classic case in point. Bangalore produces close to 80% of Karnataka's economic output. And every other little town in this thing is less than 20%. Compared to Tamil Nadu, where Chennai produces 46% of Tamil Nadu's output. and the development is much more evenly spread out across the state. India is young. We have a demographic dividend. It's urbanizing very, very quickly. And right now, the paradigm of urban change in India is control, bureaucratic control, rules control, etc. The paradigm has to become change, not just controlling and retaining the current mindset that we have. Sorry. Yeah. So, by 2030, it's predicted that 630 million Indians are going to live. That means you're going to build in the next 5-6 years, you're going to have to build something like about 9 more Bengaluru all over the India. It's like look at the statistic, right? All that India has built till today in its so-called 5,000 years of existence, we will build in the next 20 years. Again, all over again. That is the level of demand that is predicted for this economy. Right? It's no longer about how many homes can you deliver into the system. It's about what kind of lives can you enable. And all of you sitting in this room have a role to play as to what is the quality of living. We should be looking at qualitative aspects rather than just patting ourselves on the back for quantitative change. Right? Should we build more housing or should we build more belonging? How do you create a sense of pride in a city? We don't seem to care about the common spaces of our city. It's a tragedy of the commons. We casually throw garbage, we pollute the environment, and so on and so forth. So we have to really ask ourselves that, is this going to be again just a transactional change or is it going to be a transformational change? And it's important to make that distinction that everything in life is not only a transaction. All of us look to transform what our cities stand for today. Right? And we must, the cities are not just your homes, they're ecological logic. It's strange to think the word ecology and economy come from the same Greek root word, which is oikos, which means home. So the home and that is the core of any country's economy. And both the words come from the same thing. I don't know why they're treated as two separate things. Ecology must be in balance with economic growth. Right? We also have mobility issues in Bangalore. It's impossible to get around. And it is all our fault. We didn't invest in public transport early enough. And to some extent, nobody saw that the Bangalore is going to double in size. Right? And we need to see ecology as infrastructure. We need to see infrastructure as connection. And we need to see society as a empowering strength and institutional memory as wisdom to learn from. Right? So Francis Carey, who won the Pritzker Prize, which is the Nobel Prize of Architecture, he said that today we must look at both simultaneously a local as well as a global and sort of aesthetic towards a performative architecture which is centered around process. And in all that, it's a lesson to all businesses that if you don't focus on great process, you're not going to get a great product. It's important to understand that. Right? A little bit personal, we are a 56-year-old firm in Bangalore. That's my father, no computers. You can see on the tables doing, instead of CAD, which is computer-aided design, he's doing PAD, which is pencil-aided design. That was what it was. And a little bit about our own firm and our contribution to the housing stock of the city. We started at the same year that Neil Armstrong landed on the moon. And nobody can believe they went to the moon and back using a tool slightly less sophisticated than your Casio calculator. That's all they had. Really no computers. And they did 7 moon missions in 2 years. I cannot believe how they went to the moon and back using a calculator. And today with the fanciest of computers and AI, we still haven't been able to go back to the moon. Right? This was my old office long ago when I moved in there, 1937. Again, you see people drawing, no computers. And then in 56 years, we've built more than about 800 apartments in Bangalore and also elsewhere in India too. And this is the level of our global reach. So what changed? As usual with any practice, we started with single family homes. Bangalore was where there was no apartments in Bangalore till 1976, when some Bombay guy decided to come and start apartments here, which were sold for the incredible price of 111 rupees a square foot. And everybody used to say, Nama Akbit Hogtane, because 111 looks like a, I remember that. And that building, curiously, is still standing behind Holiday Inn on Cunningham Road. You can't see it. It's a ground plus 20 floor apartment. That was the first one in the whole city. Right? And apartments initially started resembling homes. So if you see a plan like this building is again built in 1976 by my father, called Retreat on Cunningham Road. And you'll notice that it's still, that earlier these Bombay apartments are tubes. Earlier they had tenements, which the toilet was on the ground floor. Mr. Mukesh Ambani grew up in one of them, in a chawl, or whatever you call it, but a tenement, which had just stacks of rooms and a common toilet in the ground level. And then it moved to flats, where you entered a apartment, and the first thing you saw was a dining table with a plastic sheet with pickle bottles on it. And then you saw some living room, and every door opened into that room. And it was quite annoying to live in such a place. And from there we went to apartments. This was one of the first ones. And you notice that there is a chapel room in the entrance. Living dining is separated into like a corridor in the middle. None of the bedrooms open into the living space, just like a house. And this started happening more and more. And then people started asking, saying that we don't want to see this dining table with pickle bottle. What can you do? Right? And this is what happened. I invented the L-shaped living dining room. I should have patented all these things, which is taken as a standard now in every apartment. Where when you enter an apartment, if you notice, the living dining is not, the dining is tucked away and the kitchen is tucked away. And you can choose whether to open it up or not. Right? So this is it sounds very basic, but if you go back into the earlier apartments, none of you can live in any of them. All of you have got used to this. These are all early apartments done by my office. Right? And then we also started bringing elements of the home into institutional hostels and buildings to give it a homely feel. Right? And these are all the again, pre-CAD, hand-drawn sketches. You can see how close the original drawing is to the actual finish. It was possible to live without computers. All of us have forgotten. Even I don't know what I'll do without a cell phone anymore. Right? And then it moved from apartments, it moved to lifestyle. Can anybody recognize this building? It's behind All India Radio. It was built in 1989 and sold for the astronomical sum of 400 rupees a square foot. Right? And it was just a lot of fancy people in Bangalore live in this building, the embassy. And it was the first building in Bangalore apartment complex. It had duplex and triplex apartments, split level apartments, and it also had, curiously, something you all take for granted. It had a clubhouse for the first time. And we didn't go as far as to put a swimming pool, but we put in a billiards table at that time. And we also brought the street experience. What if you had a great street, which we don't have? What if you brought it into the development? This was very carefully detailed at that time. And then again, there was an IT boom. Many of you have seen this also. It's called Palm Meadows in Adarsh Palm Meadows in Whitefield, the first gated community of India, actually. And it was a simulation or simulacrum of American suburbia. And all the IT guys who came back, that place actually has two associations. It has an American East Coast Association, where all the guys are dressed properly with suits and ties and all. And it has a West Coast Association, where everybody is in shorts and t-shirts flipping burgers or something. They completely recreated a life for themselves. And this gave rise to the gated community, which had none of the problems of living in a regular community. Right? But it had one flaw. It had a Vastu was not big those days. All of you are dealing with it every day. It had a cul-de-sac and the last two houses lost value. So the developer said, no, you can't do all this stuff. We cannot have it. So right opposite Palm Meadows, we built this, which is Prestige Ozone, which was the other big community of that time, in which we solved a problem where the cul-de-sac turned around and came back. And so every house there is now Vastu corrected. Okay, this is quite a beautiful, and it had a fantastic 10-acre garden and a fantastic clubhouse at that time, 30 years ago. That's what it looked like. You can see the giant open space in the middle and a spa for the first. So, lifestyle became more important than just the house that you lived in. Right? And then this continued into a high-rise model. Many of you have seen this project also called Purva Venezia, where we started bringing lifestyle issues from other countries and other concepts, where we brought some touch of Venice. And we were all wondering where to get the water from. This is the first apartment to have a sewage treatment plant in-house. And all the water you see there is sewage, is recycled sewage. And these are still in very good condition. It's in Yelahanka, if any of you have seen it. Right? And it had this landscape features like Venice. Right? Then Bangalore boomed all over again. Okay? And we started saying what is mixed use. And many of you have seen this project also called Brigade Gateway, which combined what I call mixed use. We used to call this project Hotel California. And to paraphrase the song, you can check out anytime you like, but you never have to leave. You can be born there, live there, work there, shop there, watch a film there, if you have too much money, party in a 5-star hotel there, go to school there, and when you die, the hospital has a mortuary too. So you don't have, you can live your entire, and the entire central area of it was again sewage. No water that enters Brigade Gateway ever leaves except by evaporation. Right? So you have to also look at sustainability as a long-term thing. This is the mall, one of the nicest malls, even in good shape even today. And till recently, the headquarters of Amazon. And for those of you who haven't seen it, it's the tallest building in Bangalore. And the developer asked me, what do we do with the top floor? And I said, of course, we have to have a bar. What else is Bangalore without a bar? And he said, what shall we call it? I said, obvious, correct name also was, we called it high. That's what you do, right, when you go to a bar. So you might as well sit on the 30th floor. Right? And then again, post-COVID, the rise of the work from home, or somebody rather impolitely put it, this WFH, I think it's called, right, is now become WTF. And you want everybody to come back to work. They're tired of this work from home business. You don't know whether anybody is doing anything at all. And you started modifying apartments with a workspace, with an extra workspace in the flat itself. And further demands, I think Mr. Manasam Holmes is here. So this was the first, I sort of reinvented the senior living concept as a senior active living. Earlier it was called old age home where people went to die. Here it is senior living where people get a second chance in life itself. And this was Columbia Virtuoso on Old Madras Road. I think somebody from Virtuoso is here today, I was told. And this is again designed with a lot of amenities and a full-time nursing and doctor care. And the apartments themselves are designed for easy access based on, it's not meant for assisted living, more meant for senior living, active living. Right? And these are all how the plans started changing. Toilets needed a wheelchair access, etc., etc. Right? And then, finally, we have come to yesterday I saw this. This is one of my projects for the developer called Lodha. And this is the ad to sell the apartment. Where is the apartment? He stopped selling you it's like, you go and buy a car, a Maruti, And you'll ask what, open the bonnet, see the engine, how much mileage, what tire, some nonsense questions. If you go and buy a Mercedes Benz, all that guy says, when you touch the car, he says, you look really good in that car. And you will buy it. You never discuss mileage and all with. So the same thing is happening to housing. It's gone from 2 BHK to rupees per square foot is this the lifestyle that you want? And apartments are finally matured, and it has gone, as I said, from tenement to apartment to flats to lifestyle, and finally to aspiration. And this is all that is there for you to make up your mind whether you want to live there. Right? But unfortunately, the contrast between the haves and the have-nots is gated community on the left, swimming pools everywhere, and a slum on the other side of the wall. If we cannot become an inclusive society, this is going to create huge social issues as we go forward. This is not an Indian slide, but I'm sure the same picture applies in India too. Right? So, let me end here. I think I'm out of time. So, architecture is not just some developer deciding what to do. It's a huge bunch of forces coming together and making sure that a developer's dreams, of course, people don't realize that out of 28 MLAs in Bangalore, 27 have declared their primary source of income as real estate. One guy has declared pension. So, you can guess who that is. And you can see that what is the power of, you would think some IT guy who made a lot of money would be no chance. Mostly it is the power of land. And Mark Twain said it very well. He said, invest in land, they're not making any more of it. So, etc. And finally, I will end here by saying that yesterday I saw this and I said, all of you, we think we've run out of typologies. The good old Gen Z, which we all love to hate, and we also love to love because they're all our children also, right? He's wanting to have, they have a retirement home for Gen Zs because they're burnt out already. So, I thought it's a great idea to start it in India also. Any entrepreneur in the system should really look at starting Gen Z retirement homes. Why only senior citizens? Thank you very much. I have 2 minutes left. I was asked to stick to 20 minutes. We are at 18. So I have one or two questions we have time for.
You may raise your hands up. Check. You may raise your hands up. I will get the mic to you if you have a question quickly. Okay. That's a good walk, but it's okay.
Yeah.
Hi, sir. I'm Chetan. I just have one small question for you.
Where are you?
Right now,
Can you just stand up, please?
Yeah. So right now, the biggest problem is carbon emission from the concrete structures, and that's how we are losing our nature. And even the temperature is rising. Bangalore was cooler 10 years back, and that's not the case now. So, I mean, for that, the major contribution should come from architects and developers, I believe. So, what do you think is the right approach? How do we incultivate sustainability and contribute to the environment also, along with the standard of living rising?
Good question. Earlier, a green building was a label you tagged on to a building. What has happened now is, because of the issues that you mentioned, a green building is the default. It should be the hygiene factor. You start by doing that. Close to 40% of all carbon emissions is caused by the building trade, followed closely by the vehicles, of course, and actually curiously by non-vegetarian people growing animals. Right? These are the major causes of carbon emission and sequestration. But really speaking, start with the beginning. Start thinking when you build. Don't think it costs more or it's a label to add. A green building is by default. That's the fundamental thing you should do. Second, water resilience. All of us are quite wasteful when it comes to water use. One is building it, but after you build it, also put in place, there are enough softwares and enough startups to help you run a efficient building after it is built. If the systems are designed when the architect is starting the job, it makes it much more efficient. There are, of course, many things. I can talk for 1 hour on this, but I think these two top things you should look at. Start green building as a hygiene issue. Anybody else? I have 1 minute left. Yeah, that lady there.
Okay, I should have stood there. No problem. I think it's coming. Yeah.
Yeah, just go ahead. Yeah.
No. The mic is coming right to you.
Hi Naresh, I don't know if you remember me, I met you some time back. I manufacture composite panels for construction, which are, continuing from his question, which are eco-friendly, conserves water, both of what you addressed. And they are also not too expensive. But why there are such building, materials available now. There's a lot of progress happening now. But there is a lot of, reluctance by people to use this. So now things are better than what it was when I started 5 years ago. But what it is that is needed by stakeholders like you to improve and, gain acceptance of such materials.
It's very difficult to be a guinea pig in this industry, okay? Because you're selling
a
product.
Tried and tested.
No, I agree. But a lot of the composite materials are not very fire retardant. I think I explained it to you last time.
It is fire retardant.
It is retardant, but it is not fireproof. And people in India tend to, even now, if you could take that, whatever you are saying, actually really speaking, the kind of buildings we should be building it with aluminum studs and chipboard panels. But the perception of value in India is not towards this. Perception of value is still brick and concrete, solid wall that you can drill nails into wherever you want. And people still think that is the meaning of a house. So you have to invest in behavioral psychology and probably cognitive neuroscience to change people's ideas why this is better. Or increase like what has happened with wood, right? If you see this material which has started coming from Chennai, this rice husk based Indo wood, you will find that the cost of the original material has gone unaffordable and the alternative is then brought into the forefront. And the wood is almost as good as real wood and at almost like 1/4 the price of this thing. So it is not a easily answerable question. You have to convince people. It's just like plastic windows, right? 20 years ago, you would sneer if I said I put UPVC. Everybody will say, we'll do plastic window. We want wood window. But today it's the exact opposite. People want plastic windows. So it's probably a question of time, that's all.
Yeah,
and increasing unavailability of traditional material.
So instead of using it for houses, I think we can use it for commercial, because there I think there's more acceptance.
People are using it. The Everest has got a whole line of products. There are many large companies which have started doing it. And we are using it largely, but in homes still, people want solid walls for some reason.
True. Right.
I don't know why. I think Indians like noise, no noise transmission. Many of the problems in alternative materials are noise transmission between rooms. And I think it's a bit of an issue. But I'm sure that, keep at it, I'm sure you'll hit a breakthrough sooner or later. Thank you so much.
A big round of applause for that. Thank you. Well, we want to not send you off just like that. A little thank you from our side. May I please request our President Thai, so Venk Krishnan, to kindly come and join us, please, to present a small token of thank you. A big round of applause for our President.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Wow, that's quite a lot.
You could keep it going one more time. Thank you.
I didn't know you built
Both of you for a picture, please.
Thank you.
Venk,
Yeah, I'll be here for a little while.
for a picture, both of you. Yeah.
Here?